Hey folks, Aaron here from Finctum Languages, and today I want to share a technique that I've used really successfully in the past for developing my listening comprehension in foreign languages, which is a big area that people struggle with because I know a lot of language learners have the specific fear that they're going to go into a conversation and not understand what people are saying to them. And if you've been learning a language for any period of time, you've probably had experiences like this, and it's really embarrassing. So this technique, which is listening to guided meditations and watching yoga videos in your target language, is something that I've used specifically to help me better be able to understand what people are saying in my target language. And I've used this successfully with French and Spanish, a little bit with Thai, and pretty soon I'll probably start using it with Greek as well once I get to upper beginner, lower intermediate level. Before we get into any of the particulars of this video, I just want to give a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. So that's Ryan, Ian, Hillary, and Susan. Thank you guys. And also, if you are interested in language learning and linguistics in general, and you're not subscribed to this channel yet, I would encourage you to do so to get more videos every week related to linguistics, languages, language learning in general. So anyways, why is it that I think listening to guided meditations and watching yoga videos in your target language is so important and so useful? The number one main reason that I think this technique works is because guided meditations and yoga videos in particular are done by people who are very calm, they're relaxed, they're speaking in a very slow, calm voice, and they're designed to help you relax and help you start to feel calmness, which right from the very beginning is going to alleviate any of the anxiety or stress you might feel that comes along with the struggle of learning a language. But more importantly than that, because the people who make these videos are speaking so slowly and so clearly, it's very easy to understand what they're saying. In contrast to most other authentic materials that you might listen to, which are designed for people who speak that language natively, in which they just speak very naturally, which is good to learn, but it's also very difficult to comprehend that if you're a beginner or an intermediate speaker. For example, when I speak in most of my normal videos on this channel, I speak about at this speed. And for those of you who are already native speakers or you already speak English fluently, it's not a problem for you to understand the things that I'm saying when I talk like this. But it's very difficult to understand if you're not a native speaker. So I find yoga videos and guided meditation videos on YouTube to be an excellent source of comprehensible input, which is something that I've talked a lot about in past videos. And in fact, I created a whole book series designed around comprehensible input, which is meant to help people be able to understand what they're reading. Because the theory of comprehensible input says that just being exposed to language won't help you that much. You have to be able to understand the message. Once you understand the message first, then the learning of the grammar and acquisition of vocabulary, that will all come along with it second. And because they speak so slowly and clearly in yoga videos and guided meditation videos, you're just naturally going to be able to understand easier than most other videos that are designed for native speakers. And this serves as an excellent transition from specific learner materials or materials that are designed for people who are learning the language, such as, my book is designed for people who are learning. That's not always the most interesting way to learn a language, though. As soon as possible, you want to get into authentic materials. Or what I mean by that is resources designed for people who speak your language natively, or designed for people who already speak your language. These are materials that are not designed with language learners in mind. And sometimes there's a little gap that needs to be bridged between those, right? Like my book is, it's very clearly a storybook. It's meant to be easy. And people who take no consideration for language learners when they're creating their materials very often will be producing authentic materials that are just too difficult for a learner. So that's why I find meditations and yoga videos to be the perfect bridge between those, because they are designed for native speakers. They are authentic material, but it bridges that gap because it's easier than the majority of authentic material that you might run into. But it's still just as interesting, it's still just as compelling as other authentic level materials that you might run into. Because these materials are not designed to teach you the language. They're not designed as a study aid. They're designed to help you do something that you might already want to do, just simply as a person functioning in the world, without any consideration of whether you're learning a language or not. Now, why are these effective if they're so simple? Right? You can imagine doing a yoga video and not learning a whole lot if you, or at least that might be a reasonable fear you might have, because you're going to say, well, I already know how to say arm and leg. I already know how to say stretch. What else am I going to learn in a yoga video? And that's a valid question, because you can imagine a somewhat limited range of vocabulary being used in a video like that, right? You can imagine learning body parts, maybe learning about breathing and stuff like that. But I find that just listening to someone speak in complete sentences is enough of an exposure to that language to help getting you more comfortable. You're listening to the sounds of the language, you're getting more comfortable understanding what they're saying. You're getting familiarity with the pronunciation. You're also coming into contact with different types of verb conjugations, different types of prepositions, right? Because they might say lean forward, lean back, stretch to your side, stretch downwards, all kinds of things, as well as just random kind of general words and phrases that you're going to have to come into contact with, you're going to have to become familiar with in your target language. So just listening to someone for long periods of time is going to give you some more familiarity with the language, on top of some of the vocabulary words that you might be learning, such as body parts and ways of breathing and organs and things like that. And if I haven't convinced you yet that this is an excellent way of learning a new language, just take my word for it. I've been doing this for years, and it really has helped me, especially when I listen to, I spend a lot of time listening to guided meditations at night. And, I used to think, a meditation, what is that? Is that some kind of like new age thing, or is it like a Buddhist thing? No, what these are is just designed to help you stop, slow down a little bit, think about your breathing. It can help you calm down if you're feeling anxiety or stress. There's nothing religious or supernatural or new agey about it. It's just designed to help you focus on your thoughts, focus on relieving stress and things like that. And they're excellent if you have problems falling asleep, because those exactly are the kind of things that you want to do if you're trying to fall asleep, but your mind won't stop racing. Right? So I've spent some time using videos like this and listening to these as I'm trying to fall asleep, which it's a double-edged sword, right? You get one benefit or the other. Either it's going to help you fall asleep, or you're going to stay awake and listen to it and keep improving your language learning, and not both, right? I've heard some people say, well, you can listen to foreign language while you're asleep. I don't think there's a whole lot of science that will back up learning while you're asleep. But while you're falling asleep and you're listening actively to the guided meditation, that certainly is a time that you can actively be learning. And in fact, some research suggests that right before bedtime actually is the most effective time to learn something new, because it's right before you fall asleep, which is the time of day when your brain is kind of working on solidifying memories and things like that. And what I do is I'll find 1 or 2 meditations to listen to during bedtime, and I'll listen to those multiple days in a row. So you're getting lots of repetitions. You're starting to get familiar with the exact phrasing that the person who created this video uses when they speak. And they usually speak in full, complete sentences, and it's very easy to understand what they're doing. One of the problems you might run into, though, is how do you find language, how do you find guided meditations and yoga in your target language? Because if you just type in yoga, which is probably the same in most languages, you're just going to run into yoga videos in English. So a lot of times what I do is I will type in yoga for the back, or yoga for morning time, yoga for relieving stress, yoga for neck exercises, something like that. But you type it in your target language, and then it'll bring you right to someone who does yoga or meditation videos in the language that you're learning. And then once you find one channel that does that, then you have a fairly large collection of videos that you can watch. And the same thing with meditation videos, right? If you might have to go to Google Translate or to wordreference.com or something and look up guided meditation. The guided meditation for sleeping, guided meditation for eliminating stress, guided meditation for sports motivation, or for preparing for an exam or something like that. You just type that in your target language, in whatever language you're learning, and that will help you find videos in the language that you're learning. The other thing that you can do is type in a country, right? Like, for example, my French is pretty good, but when I was learning French, I was specifically trying to learn Canadian French, Quebecois French, because that's just where I like to go on vacation. I go to Quebec a lot more than I go to France itself. And I just typed in yoga Quebec, and first thing I found was a channel called OK Yoga Quebec. All right, now this strategy won't always work. The strategy of just putting in the place name of the country that you're interested in learning their language, because that's not necessarily the most relevant thing, the first thing someone would think to put into the title of their videos, right? If I was making a yoga video, I wouldn't put Yoga USA. I would just put yoga in the title of the video. But sometimes you get lucky, like I did with OK Yoga Quebec. So if you're looking for to learn a specific dialect or a specific accent that you want to familiarize yourself with, you can give it a try. You can type in Swiss German yoga, right? Or I don't know, Flemish yoga, Mexican Spanish yoga, Spain Spanish yoga, right? You can give it a try and see if it works. So again, this is just something that I've been using for several years, and it's so helpful just to be exposed to the language in slow, easy speech that's easy to comprehend. You don't have to strain yourself really hard, and the videos in and of themselves usually help contribute to the reduction of stress and anxiety, which is going to be a positive thing for consolidating memories and for learning. So take this advice as you will. If you're inclined to do yoga already or guided meditations already, then this is just a very natural extension that's going to help you learn your language to something that you already do in your daily routine. So anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys on Friday.